Afternoon, of course, that is the special seating of National Assembly that is taking place this afternoon. Now, it is to consider the President's Memorandum of Understanding, which proposed a slashing of the VAT on petroleum products from 16 to 8% after the President rejected the bill last Thursday to scrap the VAT altogether. Now, this afternoon, a NASA parliamentary group did resolve that they will provide conditional support for the VAT to be cut, and this is on a one-year conditional support. But let's find out what will actually happen as we continue looking at this special seating of the National Assembly this afternoon.
Members. Next order.
Order number 4, petitions. Order number 5, papers.
Leader majority.
Honorable Speaker, I beg to lay the following papers on the table of the House today, Tuesday, September 18, 2018. 1. 2018-2019 Supplementary Estimates 1, Program-Based Budget of the National Government of Kenya for the year ending 30th June 2019. And 2, Statement of the Financial Year 2018-2019 Supplementary Estimate number 1 by the Cabinet Secretary for the National Treasury.
Order number 6, notices of motion. Order number 7, questions and statements.
Yes, Member of Kikuyu, what's your point of order?
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Really not a point of order, Speaker, but a point of information, just to appeal to members of the Budget and Appropriations Committee in view of the paper just laid by the Leader of Majority on the supplementary appropriations estimates, that we have a meeting tomorrow morning and the whole day. And I also wish to take this opportunity, Honorable Speaker, to ask all chairs of committees to be able to join us tomorrow. We will make it known through the liaison committee, the venue of the meeting, so that we are able to deliberate on the estimates and be able to have a report ready by Thursday morning. Of course, all chairs of committees except the 2 oversight committees and the special funds committee. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Very well. The chair of Budget and Appropriations Committee jumped the gun, but he's quite in order. The papers laid by the Leader Majority Party stand committed, as I indicated in my communication, to the Budget and Appropriations Committee for appropriate consideration. And as you invite chairs of other committees to your meeting, I think I would also want to direct members of the Parliamentary Service Committee and the clerks of the Houses of Parliament, more particularly the chair of the Finance Committee of the Commission, the Honorable Kainan, to also appear before your committee. The Honorable Kainan is the chair of the Finance Committee of the Parliamentary Service Commission. So, because I'm sure the meeting may have a few issues that you may wish to have considered or looked into. Yeah, the Honorable Kainan is present. Yes, and he can carry with him as many other commissioners as possible. It's only the chairperson who will not be present.
We will do that, Chairman, and our position is already known. Nothing will be touched on the PSC proposals contained.
No, the Honorable Kainan has made it. Honorable Ishongwa.
Honorable Speaker, Honorable Speaker, I think in your magnanimity you have indicated that the chair of the Finance Committee of the Parliamentary Service Commission will appear together with other commissioners before the committee. And indeed, Honorable Speaker, I want to confirm that indeed a letter should be on its way, inviting members of the Parliamentary Service Commission and members of the Judicial Service Commission into the meeting tomorrow morning. However, Mr. Speaker, when you gave the Honorable Kenan that opportunity, he has said something that is very telling, that Chair, when I said all chairs, it meant even the chair of the CDF committee is also invited. That is why we invited all chairs of committees, except the oversight committees. Honorable Chair, what I had a problem, Mr. Speaker, with is the assertion by Honorable Kenan, who purports to be now writing the report on behalf of the Budget and Appropriations Committee, indicating that nothing will be touched.
Honorable Ijongwa, you are now out of order because we are discussing nothing. Honorable members, I don't know who is the vice chair of the CDF committee. Yes, as Honorable Omar. I know the chair is indisposed and out of the country. Honorable Wahungu.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I was raising the matter on the chair of the CDF, and like enough the chairman had raised. Because looking at that memoranda, you find that CDF is under threat. So it's important that the chair of CDF should be there, and even any other friend of the committee should also be there to appear before the budget committee so that we can consider it accordingly and act appropriately. I thank you.
No, members, there is the invitation is from the chair of budget committee. I say the member for Homa Bay Town.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I thank you for reconvening the House during recess. Mr. Speaker, the matters that we are going to transact between today and on Thursday would be matters of grave national importance, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, would I be right to seek your indulgence as the chair to reorder the order papers so that we can deal with the matter of VAT straight away? I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Which order paper? Which order paper?
Yes, Mr. Speaker, there is only one circulated to us relating to this special sitting and it includes the matters gazetted for today and Thursday. I was just requesting, Mr. Speaker, that because the main issue as to why the people we represent believe we are here concerns VAT, and it is a matter over which I know there is a conscious decision by members. It's a matter we can vote straight away so that we deal with the other matters. I beg you, Mr. Speaker.
You know, honor members, and like all of you, the Constitution made it very clear that the Speaker shall have no vote. So, honourable members, the memorandum has been referred to the relevant committee of the House, namely Finance and National Planning, who will then bring a report. And if we took the route that the Honourable Kaluma is suggesting, we will be obviously in a breach of our standing orders and other traditions. So, Honourable Kaluma, I can see you are anxious to dispose of that matter. But let's wait for the time, which is Thursday morning. Yes. I can see the member for South Imenti.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for this opportunity. Honorable Speaker, I listened to the Chair and Budget Committee severally excluding the very important committees of this House, Honorable Speaker, especially in the undevised. especially in the appropriations budget making process. Mr. Speaker, the Public Accounts Committee, Public Investments Committee, and the Special Funds Committee, we are the watchdog. I know who the thieves are in this country, Mr. Speaker. And Mr. Speaker, it is important even when he is doing his work to really consult these important committees, because you know where resources are wasted, where resources are plundered, who steal the public resources. Therefore, I think the chairman budget committee should be a friend of these three watchdog committees, and he should not see these committees as enemies of this House or of the process that is done in this House, Mr. Speaker. Therefore, it is important, Honorable Kimani Ichung'wah, my good friend, not to be intimidated by these three committees, because like now, if you tell me where to cut, in special funds, Mr. Speaker, we have realized that all the funds that we have in the ministries, all these funds go to waste. And therefore, Mr. Speaker, if you ask me today where we can cut in budget and where we can get money to fill the budget hole, I can tell you even at 1 o'clock when I'm asleep, Mr. Speaker. Therefore, Mr. Chairman should really be a friend of our committees, because we can really make his work easier. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I can see my colleagues also agitated by his statement. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Leader Majority.
Speaker, this House now is close to over a year. And I want to confirm that this funds committee, the Public Accounts Committee, the Public Investment, and the Special Funds are yet to table a report here. And based on that report, then we can use it as a record of the House to where to cut expenditure and where there's wastage. And this, I think, Mr. Speaker, is a wake-up call. Honorable Wandai is doing a very good work, and Honorable Nasir, and Honorable Kathuri. But you know, interrogating people in room 7 and 9 is not the end of the business. What is the end of the business is when a report is tabled and is approved, and then other agencies can use to bring those people to book. To Speaker, the second thing, you heard Honorable Chris Wamalwa saying CDF is in the memoranda. Speaker, this is a house of facts. Speaker, he said, I can even go to the answer. He said that, maybe on a slip of the tongue. What CDF will be found, if at all, in the estimates, supplementary estimates that I have tabled. This memoranda, Mr. Speaker, has about 5 items, which the House needs to agree with in one way or the other. Mr. Speaker, the roadmap is set. And Kenya is a parliamentary democracy. So, and you know, when I say Kenya is a parliamentary democracy, there are parties that form parliamentary parties. So, Mr. Speaker, I really want Honorable Wandai and Honorable Nasir. They are doing very good work. And Honorable Kathuri, it may be when we come back in October, and the House Business Committee that you chair will give it a priority, so that we know in record at the plenary where wastage in government is happening. And that will not help the people of Kenya alone, it will even help the president in making sure certain people are also relieved of their duties. But now, 1 year down the line, we don't have a report.
No, not a point. You know, points of order should not be confused with points of arguments. Honorable Kajwang, what is your...
Mr. Speaker, please. Protect me from who?
I can speak on your behalf. Come here.
Here. Mr. Speaker. Here. Mr. Speaker, sir, protect me from my minority leader. Mr. Speaker, sir, as you see, I am sitting next to him. My minority leader is threatening me with the consequences of participating in this House pursuant to Article 117, which states that this House, there is freedom of speech in this House, and everybody will follow its conscience, and that this is a house of debate. Mr. Speaker, sir, he is talking about issues which are outside of this parliament. And Mr. Speaker, sir, it is the same thing which the leader of majority, in a way in which he is trying to cast us persons by telling us about this parliamentary democracy, telling us about some things outside the house that we do not know. Are they in order, Mr. Speaker, that these people should intimidate us when we know where to vote and where we know where the country is going, where we know our people?
Order members, order now, order. Honor members, the chair will obviously not be able to rule on whether whether the leader of minority party is in order or not, arising from a complaint that whose genesis is maybe some whisper between the Honorable T.J. Kajwang and himself. Now, if he whispered something to you, because you said you are sitting very close to him, which indeed I can see, but I'm unlikely to know that both yourself and the Little Minority Party have been smiling at one another. How am I likely to interpret that that is a threat? I can only imagine that you've been exchanging matters to do with the great county of Homa Bay. Honorable Boko Milemba.
Honorable Speaker, thank you for the communication and the fact that we have had to have this special convening of the House. Mr. Speaker, Honorable Speaker, the matter that we shall be looking at, especially the matter which one honorable member raised, is the issue of the tax. And because that's a matter that really concerns Kenyans, it was my plea that I beg your direction that when it comes to voting of that particular matter, because it's raising a question of the integrity of the House, the independence of the House, the strength of the House moving forward, that you allow that when that voting be done, it's done publicly so that the Kenyans can know who will be for the Kenyans and who will be not for the Kenyans. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Honourable members, my communication was very clear about how that is to happen. I'm unlikely to change merely because there is excessive foot thumping. That is not the way we make decisions here. So we will go by the communication, which indeed is amplifying what is in the standing orders. And there should be no difficulties. Honorable Nasir, you want to say something?
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. With due respect, because our committees that we chair have been mentioned, and with due respect, Mr. Speaker, when we're told that 1 year down the line, we as a committee have only been constituted for hardly about 6 months. And the level of corruption that has been there in these state corporations have been so intricate and complex, Mr. Speaker, and I'm glad that my brothers, Honorable Duale and the Chair of Budget are in agreement that people need to fry and people need to burn to set an example that corruption is not allowed. So when we bring these reports, Mr. Speaker, to this House, we are hoping the same enthusiasm so that we have zero levels of corruption in this country, we have zero tolerance on public misuse, and then eventually we'll have zero taxation on fuel. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Well, now there's nothing really to this. You know, I can see Honorable Wandai wants to say something. You know, it is not. There's no debate. Honorable members, there is no debate. The matter will come on Thursday. You will then debate at that time. But for now, there's nothing to debate. There's even nothing out of order. No. It is not just for people to speak for the sake of speaking. This is not the way it is done. So, Honorable Wandai, don't even raise your finger the way you are doing. It is not going to help because there's nothing before the House. The memorandum has been committed. The supplementary estimates have also been committed. So they really have nothing. We better move to the next order. Next order.
Order number 8, the Urban Areas and Cities Amendment Bills, Senate Bill number 4 of 2017, second reading.
Leader of Majority.
Speaker, because you have committed the memoranda to the Finance Committee, and you have also committed the bulky supplementary appropriation estimates to the Budget Committee, in order to give our members time to go and read and internalize that, I will ask that we defer order number 8, number 9, 10, and 11, Mr. Speaker. I've asked you to defer order number 8, 9, and 10, and 11, Speaker.
Very well, order members, order now, order members.
Wait.
Order members. Order members. I'm sure many of you may not have heard what the Leader of Majority has said. He has asked for the deferment of the businesses appearing as orders number 8, 9, 10, and 11, so that to enable members enough opportunity to go and look at the memorandum as well as participate tomorrow effectively in the business before the Budget and Appropriations Committee. Therefore, that means, honourable members, there is no business. The hour, honourable members, the hour being 34 minutes past 3 p.m., this House stands adjourned until Thursday, 20th of September at 9:30 a.m.